story of Dina and Tombstone and what attracted you to this project? I know you talked about you bringing the story together. If you could recap that.
Yes. I always wanted to do a Western, and I wanted to do a modern Western, like a Black Hawk Down in a Western town. So we were looking for kind of a story that would affiliate that, would bring the Old West, but in a modern twist. So we came up with the idea to have like this gang, this murdering gang. They kill their leader, and he makes a pact with the devil, and then he comes back a year later because he has sworn to the devil to kill his old gang, and he has 24 hours to do it. And that's basically the story.
Tell us about the cast. Such an amazing cast that we have here. What was it about each of them that you thought would lend themselves particularly well for each role?
Danny Trejo is, of course, the ultimate badass, and I always wondering why has nobody really done a Western with him, So I think it started with that. So we had Danny Trejo, we knew that, and the way he walks in this movie is just mind-blowing. Every time when I'm seeing in front of my camera, I'm like, okay, that's the movie. Michael Hall, I didn't know what I wanted to do with Red's character yet. It was for me very difficult to find his brother, and it was not really his brother, so we didn't know where to go. And then we got a suggestion from the casting director for Michael Hall. And it was like, Michael Hall, that's really sweet guy, right? So, and they said, no, you should watch this. So I watched his reels, his demo reel, and he was some badass stuff in there. So it was like, okay, we should get this guy. He will bring something new. And then play the devil. Yeah, I think there's only one guy who can play this devil, and that's Mickey Rourke, And I was never expecting that we would get him. And so I was so glad that he said yes. And when you see, when we built this set for the devil scenes and with this fire, and when you see him walking around there, being himself and being Mickey Rourke, it's absolutely badass.
I think this movie has so many incredible themes, and what's great about it is it's an original film. You've done a lot of sequels recently. Is it a different mindset or process for you doing an original film versus a sequel? And if you can speak to that.
From the 13 movies I did 4 sequels.
Well, the last was Universal.
Yes.
Yeah.
I never. It's okay. I must say that every movie that I do a movie and make it as more beautiful as possible and exciting as possible. And it doesn't matter for me if it's a sequel or an original. I always try to do things that has not been done, and I see everything. So you try to do shots that have never been done, action scenes that have never been seen, and I did it with Death Race and especially Death Race Inferno, where we did these crazy things that I've never seen before with cars that we invented ourselves. So making that in Tombstone is for me the same thing. I don't see a difference between sequels or originals. For me, it's still a movie that needs to be kick-ass and really good.
So you mentioned earlier that this is a modern Western in your mind, and we've heard about the different type of music that may be used to kind of give it that modern edge. Can you speak to a little bit more about how you're taking such a classic film genre and really bringing it to a new level? Yes.
I think that the younger generation, I'm part of that, who plays the video games and watch the movies, we are not used to that anymore, to the classic Ennio Morricone music and then long shots, what I really love. I would love to do a movie like that, but I don't think that there's an audience anymore for that. So I try to modern it up. So a lot of the movie is handheld, really strange angles, buried cameras under the ground, top shots. And at the same time, I want to do this modern techno kind of soundtrack. What gives it a different style, what will hopefully get into the audience that love Red Dead Redemption, the video game, and get into that audience. That what this movie should do.